storytelling is being lost over time. It's dying out with generations. So we need to bring this back, and we need to be proud of who we are. We have a rich history, we have a rich culture here, and we need to embrace it. And with that being said, buy Black Watuh Tales. You won't regret it.
Like, subscribe, and share to Voices of Linden TV.
Welcome to another edition of the Let's Talk Show. I'm your host, Andrew James, and today I'm pleased to have with us in studio via Zoom, Miss Grace Hutson. Miss Hutson is a women's rights activist. She's also the author of a wonderful book, the Watuh Tales, water being spelled in the Creole version, W-A-T-U-H. So Watuh Tales, fantastic read. Miss Hutson is also a creative director of Spice and Clove, located in Guyana, South America. I'm pleased to welcome in studio via Zoom, Miss Hutson herself.
Thank you for welcoming me on today's show. Thank you for having me here tonight. Hello to the viewers. I am Grace Hutson, as was said. I am 25 years old. I am the author of a newly published book. I know I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm super excited right now. I'm super excited. I just wanted to mention that.
Very nicely said. Miss Hutson, welcome to the show. Miss Hutson, for folks watching that don't know who you are, can you tell us, I know you started already, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes, I know I started jumping the gun, but I'm always excited about who I am. You know, when you discover your purpose, it's just that you're excited about it. You're ecstatic about it. So like I was saying, I'm Grace Hutson. I'm 25 years old. I'm the author of this newly published book called Watuh Tales. It's a Guyanese zombie saga. As mentioned earlier as well, I am the creative director of Spice and Clove, an arts and entertainment NGO in Guyana. And I'm also a poet and a women's rights activist. And so that's about me, a little about me, a snippet.
All right, excellent. Miss Hutson, can you, unlike other people that come in for interviews and stuff, I think I would like this interview to take a different spin. Can you tell us about some of the challenges? I mean, your book, Watuh Tales, as not even water is the Creole version, which is the real version. That's probably the way they should spell water, W-A-T-U-H, Tales. What are some of the challenges that you encountered while, as a young progressive Guyanese artist, while putting your book together?
And the challenges were great. I'm not going to lie. It's a miracle that I completed this book and it's published today. But I previously had challenges, with garnering the capital in order to fund the illustration and edits. I was unemployed for most of the time writing the book. I was just focusing on my studies. So I was unable to have the funds, but luckily for me, I had people who had my back. So I had to pull my strings and so on. I was able to do that. Another challenge being linked to the capital aspect, the book was, I had my deadline in order for it to be published, but certain things weren't done by then. I arranged for it to go live on my birthday last October, but it wasn't finished illustrating. It wasn't finished editing or any of that. So I felt stunted. I felt held back, and I was ready to scrap the entire thing because it wasn't going my way. I am that type of person. And so many of it, I started writing this book about 5 years ago, but at the time I didn't know it was a book. I just loved writing. So I would write all my stories down. I would write my dreams down because I'm an avid dreamer. And eventually over time, I thought, what if I were to put this in, compile it and make it a book? But then when I started doing that, it sucked all the joy out of writing because I was constantly consumed with caring about what people would think about it, caring about catering to all audiences and things like that. And it became a burden. My favorite thing to do became a burden. So I
Mhm.
had to rediscover why I started in the first, is why I decided to compile it into a book in the first place, so that I could proceed. Because even then, I decided that, well, I didn't decide, but I wanted to scrap it even then when it became a burden. So those are just a few challenges, but behind this, there was so much going on. There was so much going on that many times I wanted to quit, but I'm
Mhm.
so happy that I stuck the course and I'm here today being a published author.
Very nice, she said. It goes to show your sense of resilience, which is actually good. Um, Miss Hudson, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this book, the Black Watuh Tales?
Well, I am somebody who loves horror content. I like to listen to it as background noise. Those little YouTube videos with telling stories. And I am somebody who loves Guyanese culture as well, Guyanese folklore, Guyanese storytelling or history, and so on. So I decided, why not combine both? Because when I would listen to these little YouTube videos or watch my horror movies or read my books and so on, I noticed that there was an underrepresentation of our culture, not even Caribbean culture, much less Guyanese culture. So I
Right.
thought that I needed something to relate to, and I know many other people would be feeling the same, that they needed something to relate to while consuming content like that. So I thought, why not? Why shouldn't I partake in leaving that imprint in my
Mm.
culture? Why shouldn't I be somebody who makes a step like this? And that's when I decided, yeah, I need to do this.
Nicely said. I know folks should buy the book. I don't want you to give away too much. Do you have a sample with you? And if so, can you tell us where can we get a copy of your book from, please?
Well, I don't have a sample here tonight because so many people were interested. It's sold out. It's sold out
Right.
right now. Every copy that I've gotten, I can't even keep one for myself with how much it's selling. I'm super grateful for that. So
Yeah.
currently, if you want to get it, you can find it on Amazon. It's
Yeah.
Blackwater, Watuh. On
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, the paperback copy, that's the hard copy, is 2560 US dollars, which
Mm-hmm.
is about 5,630 Guyana dollars. And the digital copy, which is on the Kindle, is $999.
Mm.
For those who have Kindle Unlimited, you may have a different arrangement, but that's the standard price for both if you are looking to get the book now. But please hurry because it's selling out fast.
I ordered my copy and it hasn't arrived just yet. But I mean, for the price, I mean, $26. What can you really buy these days for $26? Not much. So I want to impress on everyone to get a copy, get it quickly. I know the numbers are jumping, and you don't want to miss out on this. Miss Hudson, why should someone buy this book? I know it's catered specifically for all audiences, all diverse groups, seniors. I know you're targeting. There's some aspect with lovely pictures inside and so on. Why should folks buy this book?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it caters for a very wide audience for generations. Some of the stories are set in the past where there was this culture in our Creole society of telling stories under the moonlight. You would gather around the elders in the village and they would tell you about their past, about their ancestors and things like that. And there's there are stories set today which have been influenced by globalization. So younger audience will be able to relate to that. It's also very diverse in culture. It's not only, Guyana is a multiracial society. So I do
Mm-hmm.
have multiracial stories in it. I have
Right.
for each race that we have right here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I have also for those who like to read, but they like pictures. It has
Mhm.
been illustrated, so there's a picture for each story to, add to your imagination of what what should be, what I'm talking about in the story. So yeah, I think honestly the representation is what's most important in it, because when you watch movies, when you read books, I'm sure many people, Guyanese far and wide, are dying to have relatable content in it, realism in it.
Mhm.
And so I feel like this right here is going to provide that for them. So I think that, yeah, everybody should. It's there for everybody.
Nicely said. Miss Hudson, I want to personally congratulate you on your first book. I mean, at such a young age, I'm proud of you for, the bold step you've taken in coming out with your own book, of course. Um, Earlier, you mentioned you dream a lot. You get a lot of bad dreams, a lot of good dreams, and so on. You want to share one of your dreams with us, and perhaps I don't know. Tell us a little bit more about these dreams you've been having.
Oh yeah, I'm somebody who is an avid dreamer, and I remember a lot of my dreams. I don't know if somebody would psychoanalyze me on that, but that's just who I am. I've always been that way from small, from a toddler age, even I can remember. So I would usually write those dreams down into poetry. But then I decided, why not short stories? Why not develop it further? Add some fictional aspect, add some real aspect. So some nights, let me tell you, some nights I would get up crying or screaming with how vivid I dream.
Okay.
And I thought, this is an opportunity. I saw the silver lining in that. It's a grueling experience, yes, but I saw the silver lining and what I could do to put this to use, how I could channel it. And this was it. One of my worst reoccurring nightmares is actually represented in the book,
Mm.
whereby I was dreaming the end of the world, and somebody who I love was not able to spend it with me. So I spent the entire dream running to get to that person, just running to meet with them. But unfortunately, I just kept running. The dream never ended happy because I would wake up. I would wake up so sad, so despondent about the fact that I was not able to meet this person.
Mm.
And so that's one of the nightmares. But I would have other nightmares about different folklores. My mother, growing up, my mother would tell me stories about being in the cane field and seeing strange things happening. And they would intrigue me, but also terrify me. So
Mm.
those became the subject of my recurring nightmares as well.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah.
Miss Hudson, anyone you want to shout out at this time?
Yeah, I'd love to shout out quite a few people who've been involved in the process of making this book. I first want to thank my editors, namely Gerald Bryan. He has been on me for so long to get this book out. He's been pushing me. He's been beta reading when he could, editing when he could, giving me some genius ideas. And so I have him to thank. I have my illustrator to thank. He would not like to be named, but he knows himself. And major shout out to him. He was responsible for the cover of the book, which is very interesting. It's one of my favorite covers ever. And I'm not just saying that to be biased because it's my book, but I really love the cover and
Yeah.
all the images inside. He sat there. I saw him at the computer. He sat there and he did all these images on his own, and it was an interesting process. So shout out to him. I'd also like to shout out to my mom, who has been inspiring me along the way, motivating me, and she's right over there in Florida selling my book to everybody in the streets. All her colleagues, she's telling them about it. Everybody who she could possibly tell, she's telling, she's calling around the globe, and she's saying, please buy my daughter's book, buy my daughter's book now.
Yeah.
And I would also like to shout out some of my friends who kept me grounded. I would say that they were involved in the process as well. because they kept me grounded. They listened to me vent. They gave me advice when needed. They encouraged me when I was willing to quit. Some of those were Renata Burnett, Sherry Frank, Christian Jordan, uh who else? If I forget you, don't feel offended, but I just want to say my gratitude, give you my sincere gratitude right now, because without you, this would not have been possible. And I'm super grateful.
Very nice you said, Miss Hudson. In terms of your involvement as a creative director as Spice and Clove, can you touch a little bit about your role there and what Spice and Clove is all about, please?
Yes, so I am the creative director of Spice and Clove. It was a group formed in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. So everything outside was shut down, was closed because of COVID. You know how it went. And the creatives felt suppressed. They weren't able to have the platforms in order to express themselves. And as a creative, we like to express ourselves.
Yes.
So a bunch of us came together and decided, let's host some shows online. It will just be where people would just write stuff or freestyle what's on their mind and so on about the situation. And that was going to be it. However, being in that space with each other, we realized that it could be much more than just doing one-off shows. What's going to happen when the pandemic is over? What's going to happen to us? Are we just going to disband? And I decided, you know what? I don't want us to disband. I want us to have a functioning program where we're able to train, mentor, and also get people gigs in order to get paid in this economy. So
Nice.
we set out on a venture to that. We got registered as an official NGO, and we hosted workshops. We had our other shows as well, and people can call me when they need creatives for their shows. We have musicians, poets, creative writers, directors, things like that. I have a network of all those people there. They're waiting for events right now. And I'm super grateful to be in the space with them, just to be in the space with them, because they inspired me as much as I inspire them. And they're as passionate as I am. And that's how we make things work.
Nice, nice. Besides, since for folks wanting to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Folks that want to get in touch with me can, my Facebook page is currently Black Watuh Tales, and Spice and Clove. It's both on Facebook and Instagram. If you're an Instagram person, you can find it there. Both handles. Black Watuh Tales, that's Black Watuh Tales, Spice and Clove. And I also have my YouTube page where you can find my poetry, and that's called Grace the Olive. Right on YouTube, Grace the Olive, you see not all, but my most popular poetry is on there. You might even find some music on there that I've done, but that's for another forum. Yeah, and also my number is 688-2049. You can reach me on that number for all intents and purposes. That is not my private number, so feel free to reach out. It's all for business.
Very nicely put. Ms. Hutson, for someone who's watching this show who wants to put out a book and being a young person, what advice would you give to them?
Well, somebody who's watching the show right now, you want to be a writer. First of all, you need to just start. Taking too much time to just plan, to just procrastinate, it's just giving you much more anxiety and resistance to start than when you actually put pen to paper. So the first thing you do is you get out, whether it's your laptop or your pen and your paper, old school, and you start writing. And whatever you write from there, don't even read it back till you're finished. Don't read anything back. Just write until you're finished. And then you can go back through it and decide where you want to make changes and so on. When you finish making those changes, then you can take the necessary measures in order to get it developmentally edit, copy edited, things like that. Then you can do that. But if you are somebody who is hesitant right now, if you think that you want to produce some written work, some literary work, and you're hesitant right now, the fact that you have it in you, the fact that it's you want to do something, you passionate about doing something, means that you should do it. However, along the process, I would advise you to have a support system, because it can get challenging. You can feel like you want to quit many times. So you need to have people to constantly encourage you if that's the case. So you've written, you've been supported, you've edited and everything, and you're ready to put out your books. There's so many opportunities for you to do that. There's so many platforms you can go on, mainly Amazon. It's free to upload and everything. Self-publishing now in this society, in this economy, is super easy because of Amazon, I would say. So you don't even need to submit your manuscript to a publishing house or anything anymore. You just need to upload your content there. And you must know as well that not everybody will like your content. Not everybody will like your content. Please know that before you put anything out there, because the negative reviews will get to you. I was telling Mr. James earlier that I was crying today because I didn't yet prepare myself for negative reviews, and they are, well, one already came.
Okay.
However, I'm grounded to know that I have my people, and not everybody, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's just how it is. But you will have your people, and the only way to make that leap is to make that leap. You have to
Mm.
start now. And that's the advice I would give somebody.
Excellent. Well, Ms. Hudson, I'm very sorry to hear that. You just brought out this fantastic book, and you're already getting critics. But I guess in not a good way of looking at it is that your book is good, and it's good, and people. It's like there's a Guyanese story. My grandmother always tells me. She says little boys always pelted mango trees with that have good mangoes in them, good fruits in them. So obviously there's something good and juicy in your book that you have your haters already. It's just the second day or the first day so far, and people are already hating on the lovely and talented Miss Hudson there. I don't like that, but there's not much we can do to change that, I guess. Keep selling more books, keep writing more books, and that's a good way to change the narrative there. Miss Hudson, we're just bunching up against time. Just in closing, what advice would you give to a young person who's struggling with the concept of social integration, if I may?
Somebody who's suffering from social integration, somebody who feels like an outsider. I just want to let that person know that it's impossible to be an island in this world. There will always be somebody for you, or some group of people for you. But in order to find this out, you have to put yourself out there. You have to take that leap of faith, take some risks, and try to see who will gravitate towards you. Like I was saying earlier, not everybody, you'll not be everybody's cup of tea, but you will be some people's cup of tea, and those are the people you need to be around. Those are the people that you need to find you. And in order to do that, you can't stay in a corner in your house all the time, going nowhere, doing nothing, and expect that you're going to find those people. You have to put yourself out there. They will come to you. Find something that you're interested in. The first time I performed poetry on the big stage, it was nerve-wracking. I knew nobody. I had one friend from my childhood friend. I call her my sister, Osia Patterson. Shout out to her as well. She was there in the audience for me, the only person. So I looked at her and I performed that poem, and I felt like I wasn't good enough at the time. But when I stepped off of that stage, I had a community. I was never the same that day, because I decided I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to put my work out there and see what happens. From that day, I had a community of creative people who continue to inspire me and so on. So that's my advice, and based on experience.
All right, 688-2049 is the number to call if you want to get in touch with Miss Hutson, if you want to buy a couple books for your, I guess, your group or your organization or so on, if you have a small community of people that you want to share Guyanese culture with, get in touch with her, buy a couple boxes of books, if I may. I'm sure she'll be very happy with that. And as well, if you want to catch her on Facebook, you can hit her up at Watuh Tales. Water being spelled Watuh Tales, and she's always available to chat if or when you're available for when you want to get her. Miss Hutson, we're just closing. Any closing words quickly just before we say goodnight?
Yeah, I just want to once again encourage everyone to buy this book if you're interested in Guyanese culture, if you want to learn about us, how we act in different scenarios, some of our struggles. I know that I've added my own spin on the fictional stories represented, but it's an accurate depiction of who we are as a society. So let's say you're married to a Guyanese person, let's say somebody in your class, you're teaching somebody in your class is Guyanese, you want to get to know them better, somebody at your workplace, you a religious leader or something, you just want to know about us, or you're a Guyanese yourself and you've migrated and you want to get closer to home. This is for you. Even if you're a Guyanese right here, especially some of you don't know a lot about our culture because the art of storytelling is being lost over time. It's dying out with generations. So we need to bring this back and we need to be proud of who we are. We have a rich history, we have a rich culture here, and we need to embrace it. And with that being said, buy Watuh Tales. You won't regret it.
Watuh Tales, available on Amazon.com or Amazon.ca, wherever you are, wherever Amazon is. Get on there and do a quick search for Watuh Tales, Watuh Tales. It's $26, I think, US. It's a little bit more Canadian and so on, but you can do conversion, buy it for yourself. This is a book you really, really want to get. You really, really want to read it. And you really want to share it with someone in your community or as a keepsake. Miss Hutson, on behalf of everyone at the Let's Talk Show, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for being a part of the show. And of course, we look forward to talking to you again in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, and have yourself a very good night. Take care.